Welcome to Two Pete's in a Podcast, where we will talk about child health from birth right away through to adolescence, dealing with issues of illness, development, and everything else that is of importance. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Pete's in a Podcast. I'm Simon Strawn, and with me is Michael Platten.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Mike.
So we have delayed a bit just because, hey, I have a new child.
Yes, Mike.
Well, I didn't deliver one. My wife did. Very healthy, yes.
Yes, so we've had another edition. That's his third, following on what you said. I had 3 and Alison has 3, so you have to better join the party and make sure your partners have all 3.
You had all 3, three girls. Alison, a colleague, had 2 boys and a girl, and then, now I have 2 boys and a girl.
Yeah, congratulations, and welcome Everly to the world.
Yes, right. We've had a few requests about when we can send our children back to school after they've been sick. And it is actually quite an important topic that we hadn't really considered up until, in the last week, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
In terms of recording.
Yeah, that's right. It's interesting because it's been, this is episode 30, and it's probably a good time to do it, seeing as we've given a lot of background. But certainly during COVID, there have been many attempts to try and draw a line in the sand to say, when should you isolate, when you shouldn't isolate. And it's become more real now as everybody's gone back to school. And we're seeing lots and lots of viruses, not COVID necessarily. And all these symptoms of fever and snotty nose and wet coughing and runny tummies. And the question is, so when can we go back? I think that what we've heard as well is that quite a few schools have tried their best by picking a symptom. So they'll, for example, I've heard them say, we have a no cough policy. So if your child is coughing, don't come. We have a no fever policy. We have like mucus and if there's snotty stuff. So we thought we'd try and just talk through that and give you some of our thoughts on how we would approach that.
So what I normally tell my families is if your child has a fluid coming out of them at that point, then probably not. You wait until that's better, meaning a runny nose, diarrhea, vomiting. In addition to that, definitely when they have a fever, absolutely not. Because they are still very infectious. So I'd say about 24 hours after fever goes away, as long as there's no other symptoms.
Yeah, I think so.
Same with a runny nose. When that starts getting thick and green, yellow and gunky, then you're probably in safer territory. The whole concept of persistent coughing, though, if you listen to episode 15 with our Why is my child always sick, they are going to be coughing through the whole of winter. So coughing as a symptom in itself, I don't think that's an important reason to not go back to school, as long as there's no runny nose in association with that, or no fever with that. So I think you can hear that it can get quite complicated, and we try and kind of let's see if we can unpack it. So what we know is that when you pick up a virus from somebody else, you as that individual person who's now just been infected is probably not going to show any symptoms for the first day or two. With some of the other things like the childhood illnesses, it can be 7 to 10 days where you don't show symptoms, but you're actually spreading the virus. So this is the first issue around, does it make sense to have a no cough policy? Well, for the purpose of drawing a line in the sand, well, certainly it does. But the problem about creches is that children are spreading these viruses around to each other before they're necessarily even sick. You don't even know the virus is coming. So you're never going to get away from respiratory virus.
You're never going to get away. Exactly. So let's take an illness, let's say, that's got a rash and a fever. So there's so many of those. So obviously if the fever's gone, your child is, the infectious period is settled. And generally you should wait until the rash has faded. If it's a thing like chicken pox and they get little blisters or hand, foot and mouth, you need to wait until all of the little blistery things are crusted over. Not disappeared, but crusted over. Okay, so I think that's in terms of rash and fever. If it's just a feverish illness, then definitely wait until the fever's passed. And I think another good one always to look at is, if you send this child to school, is the child going to have a good time?
It's very good, very important.
Because if
are
you're
they going to be able to be awake enough
Yes.
to enjoy?
It doesn't matter what the symptoms are.
Yeah.
But if you know they're going to go to school and feel flat 2 or 3 hours later and not want to participate, then don't send them. And then
Pain.
exactly. If they're in pain, don't send them. Diarrhea and vomiting, I think that's fairly. You shouldn't be sending a child if they're having vomiting or diarrhea.
Yeah. Because obviously, or vomiting definitely, but diarrhea, how many times are they going to have to go to the toilet during, say, school?
And at the schools, I mean, they kind of have the same changing area. So
it increases your risk for infecting
increase
other
your
children.
risk, exactly. And nappies leak. So, terrible thought.
And then it's
but-
hygiene, and then you don't wash hands.
So we would say don't send them with these diarrhea or vomiting. And then the last one, as we were talking about, is this quite difficult one with this upper respiratory or respiratory infections where children are coughing and snotty. And I agree with you, Mike. I would say if there's lots of snotty mucus and stuff coming out, don't send them because that's going to spread everywhere. If they're coughing and it's spluttering and it's everywhere and it's like within that phase of the first 7 days of illness, don't send them. But if you've got to that point where generally the mucus is gone and the fever's settled and the child's feeling better, but you've got this persistent kind of dry hacking cough, that's not infectious. That's the post-viral cough, and I don't think there's any reason why you should not be going back to school with that.
I agree.
I think that's short and sweet. I'm racking with thinking now about what else there is, but I think that's a fair summary. Yeah. So if your children have allowed you to, thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening. If you found this of value, please be sure to sign up to our email list at www.careforkids.co.za, and that's the numeral 4, and subscribe in your favorite podcast app or follow us on Facebook.
At 2 Peas in a Podcast.
At 2 Peas in a Podcast.
TWO, not the numerical 2.
This is our disclaimer. The information we have given you in this podcast is our own personal professional opinion. We're giving it to you for your own information. Please don't use it to treat yourself or to treat anybody else. Rather, go and see your own medical healthcare provider and follow their advice.